So welcome to part two. I'm in the same exact place. I took a drink of water, and same song's playing. It's called Separation. Okay, by scientist and Barry Brown. This is when things start to get a little complicated, as they do when you truly ask the universe. Now I'm starting to get a little hippy dippy here, but when you truly want what it is that you're going for, because at that point music was really spiritual to me. It felt like the closest to God that I've ever felt in my whole life since I was really young. And I had lost that spirituality, by the way, for a long time. And there was a lot of it that I was just like, man, this is bullshit. So much of this is just so convoluted and it makes no sense. It doesn't sound right to me. And seeing I think what did it for me was seeing evangelists, televangelists getting on TV and saying all these things and then asking for your money, and if you don't believe in Jesus then you're going to hell, and then all this guilt trip stuff, and it just turned me off completely. So I'd lost my way spiritually, but not really. Through music I was able to hold on to love, which is God, and which brought me back to that. But that's another part of the story. So where was I at? Forgive me. Okay, so we were in 2007. We went past that. We played a birthday party. We started a band called Pariah. Me, Hunter, and Andrew. And everybody started getting a little bit of a buzz about that. And God, was I so excited for that. I was like, this is it. This is the band. This is the band that's going to catapult us, because I had the vision. I thought I did. I think one of my biggest problems was I was copying. I was copying a lot of what's already been done before, and that's not what you should do when you're writing music. The music that I did write wasn't copied too much, but it did sound a lot like what we were listening to and covering. And we covered all kinds of songs. We played The Joker from Steve Miller Band, and we played Raining Blood from Slayer. We tried to have a lot of variety, just to try to please everybody. And then a lot of obscure bands that we tried to incorporate just to be punk, even though we were not punk. We were kids. I was 15. I didn't understand what it was. All I knew what punk was freedom, just as Kurt said. And that's what it is. It's freedom to do whatever you want and to play however you want. And it's just art. That's what art is. But at the time I was a little young. I really wanted structure. I wanted to make everything into some structure, which makes sense because we were in school. We were writing things down in a way that was very structured. A plus B equals C. And so this is the way that I wrote. And I wrote a lot. And I made a lot of good songs. I made a few good songs. But it turned into writing more than it was making songs, because all of a sudden I felt this huge pressure. Where did the pressure come from? Only God knows. The pressure was immense. It came after praying for this to happen. It came from wanting it for all the wrong reasons too. I think I wanted it just to be loved and accepted for who I was, because when I was younger, I didn't feel like I was being loved and accepted for who I was. Everyone always found something wrong with me. Even though they loved me, they always found something wrong with me, and they would pick on me about it. And of course, the eczema and all that stuff. It was really rough. And I ended up having like body dysmorphia and feeling like, you know, everywhere I went, like I looked ugly and nasty and like hideous. And I couldn't stand going to school. School was just depressing me. But that all changed around 10th grade. Right before 10th grade, we ended up that summer, 2008. Was an awesome year. I'll never forget it. It was very hot, and we had this little shed, and we started to. Well, this wasn't the time we started to write songs, but this is the time when it all came together and it glued together right. And I had this little 8-track that we recorded into, and made this little EP demo tape that we called the Loser Liberation. I say I called because I'm pretty sure, I think I remember calling it that. We chose the album cover. We recorded it right there in that shed, which was very small. It had that sound. I was not very privy on engineering and figuring out how things sounded, how to make it sound good in comparison to every other band that was playing, which was okay. People still accepted it, because what happened was we ended up going and getting it published, and we had the little CDs that we made, and I even made the artwork and all these things. So during that summer, we made a bunch of songs and we put them on there. It was like 8 songs. There was a secret track to it as well. It was a lot like Endless Nameless from Nirvana.